Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I know I kind of look like I'm going to go break into a house and commit a crime, but I'm not going to do that. The only crime I'm committing is I'm going to break into your heart and enter into your life. And I like what you did with the place. In 321 days, as of today, the Lord's Day, Sunday, January 29th, 2023. So on December 16th, 2023, Final Space will be definitively wiped from streaming service existence, never to return, and I want to tell you why you should watch it.
The outcome was never in our favor, Gary.
Cut it to me straight to you. What are my chances of getting out of this mess?
In your current state, you will pass the point of recovery in 10 minutes.
Guys, let's talk about television. Or in a more grand sense, story. Hayao Miyazaki, who is the director of Studio Ghibli, he says, "I do believe in the power of story. I believe that stories have an important role to play in the formation of human beings, that they can stimulate, amaze, and inspire their listeners." And I once said, stories are sick. Pretty much the same message, just in a different tone. There's nothing that is as unsatisfying to me than an incomplete story. At least with like a bad ending, you have a little bit of closure, you know, it's like it's wrapped up. It's like a breakup, you know, like you got a bit of closure and then you can move on. This is like you're getting ghosted by fictional characters and a plot that really just like you can sink your teeth into, and it sucks as much as getting ghosted in real life. It's also like when you have a really vivid dream and when you wake up you're like, oh, what the heck, it's real life? I thought that was such a good dream, and it felt like it was real. I had one of those when I was a kid, and in the dream I had received a Piplup plushie, and it was awesome. And then when I woke up, I had no Piplup plushie. Piplup plushie. Say that 5 times fast. Piplup plushie. Piplup plushie. Piplup plushie. Piplup plushie. Piplup plushie.
All hail Plankton.
I was so pissed at my subconscious because it tricked me into believing that a Piplup plushie. That also sucks. Just like waking up from a dream that you're angry in, so you wake up angry. You're like, why am I angry? I just woke up. Nobody wants to wake up irate. Some instances of this had happened to me recently, show-wise. That's a weird, wild way to make that sentence happen. The Last Man on Earth, The OA, it's a huge one. Zack Stone is going to be famous. Infinity Train, 1899 more recently. That one was a kick in the balls. But most importantly, and what this video is dedicated to, Final Space. So let me explain Final Space to you. And I have to start off by explaining the creator of Final Space, Olin Rogers. So Olin Rogers started right here on YouTube in the form of a comedy trio entitled Balloon Shop. Sick name, dude. I am so pissed that people are creative and come up with cool names, because I want to come up with cool names too. Then he transitioned into his own channel where he would use his joyfully charismatic personality to tell stories, create sketches, and post animated shorts. One of these being Final Space. Final Space started off as Gary Space, as Olin posted the first episode to his Facebook page of what was going to be a 10-episode web series on his Facebook. But throughout the next 6 years or so, he would be going through the actual development process while working on other projects, and then the name had changed to Final Space so as to not compete with the similarity of Steven Universe. Fast forward to 2016, Olin posted a short pilot for Final Space on his YouTube channel, which got noticed by Conan O'Brien of Jordan Schlansky fame, and he encouraged Olin to pitch Final Space to TBS. Then there was a bidding war for Final Space because the show had so much interest through all these various companies that were pitched to, and ultimately Olin and the team decided to pick TBS. So what is the show about? Final Space packs an eclectic punch. Gary Goodspeed is a silly, charismatic goof of a guy, and he's nearly at the end of a 5-year prison sentence aboard a spaceship because he's been a very bad boy. He then discovers a tiny green blob flying his way, who turns out to be way cuter than it needs to be, but way more powerful than you would expect. Gary obviously takes a liking to this alien creature and names him Mooncake, adorable, but soon realizes that Mooncake is being pursued by this evil Lord Commander, which is his name. He's a sinister dude with telekinetic powers who wants to take Mooncake and use his power to open up Final Space, which is like a very dangerous dimension rip in space-time. Along the way, they gain crew members, they lose crew members, explore the universe, and try to save it. But boy, is it fun.
Oh, I've got it bad, Gary. Uh-oh, I'm gonna cut loose.
But like, why do I like it? I think space is cool. So that was a good start. That kind of roped me in a little bit. While I was remembering what kind of got me into the series at first, I just remember one summer I was scrolling through Netflix, just trying to find something to watch, as we all do. And I saw Final Space, and I thought it looked fun. So I gave it a shot, and then just binged it. I think I binged the first full season in like a few days, because it just got me going. I just love it when you find something that you're not recommended, that you don't have any knowledge of prior to, and that you just find kind of serendipitous. Like, does that make sense? Oh yeah, it was serendipitous. And you just get a little interested by something, you start watching it, and it just turns out to be like so good and so sick and has such a huge impact on you. And you love it. That happened to me recently with a show called Summertime Rendering. And I know it's on Disney Plus in Canada, but it's a very cool anime, and I highly recommend it because it deals with time travel and doppelgangers, and I love time travel. Doppelgangers are cool, but I love time travel. Anyway, but why else do I like it? Well, the voice acting is incredible. Olin voices Gary, Mooncake, and Tribor, who's a really, really fun character. Also, Cody Galloway, who was one of Olin's good friends, voices Avocado, which I thought was like really cool. Just bros being homies, playing bros being homies. You also have David Tennant, who is the Lord Commander. Barty Crouch Jr., also Doctor Who, but whatever. Stephen Yeun, Tika Sumpter, Fred Armisen, SpongeBob SquarePants. Even in later seasons, there are voices done by Jane Lynch, Conan O'Brien himself, Keith David, Ron Perlman. Dude, we must be at IHOP because this place is stacked. Production-wise, there's just so much heart put into this show. Olin posted on his YouTube channel just about 20-minute documentary of the making of the first season of Final Space, and it's just like, dude, that guy inspires and motivates me so much with every video that he makes. The animation is beautiful, the background designs are just stunning, the composition and the effects are just like, man, just mind-blowing. But one of the things that really I'm a huge fan of when it comes to television and movies is the music. So whether that be actual like needle drops of songs or original songs, but mostly score and like instrumental, because I always love listening to that kind of stuff. I just find that the music in Final Space is incredibly atmospheric and it's emotional, but it can be very triumphant and very intense. It can be very soft and gentle. And then in terms of the story, it's just like there's a lot of great humor. My kind of humor, you know, it's fun and lighthearted. It's a lot of it's highlighted by Olin's delivery of his lines as Gary.
You will die before you eat the cookie.
I'm pretty sure I could get it in there before I die.
That is not possible, Gary.
I really think I can do it. I'm gonna lob it right in and close the helmet super fast.
But that being said, even though it has a lot of comedic moments and it's dubbed as a comedy drama, that's where it gets really interesting, because when it's sincere, it hits. Which is the great thing about comedic storytelling. When you're watching a show whose intent it is to be consistently funny across the board, if the show is doing a good job at building relatable characters, incorporating stakes, fleshing out relationship dynamics, it hits you like a brick when it becomes dramatic and sincere. Like in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when Jake and Amy talk about Amy's struggles being treated poorly and unfairly as a woman in the 9-9, and just in general. And in The Office, when Aaron and Michael are talking and Aaron mentions that, or Aaron makes an off comment about looking up to Michael as a father figure. One of my favorite exchanges from the entire series is from my main man, Gary, and his dad, John. Gary is on a mission of sorts, and he shares this very vulnerable side of himself with his dad. And Gary says,
"What if my best isn't good enough?"
It's good enough for me.
oh, good grief. So what happened to Final Space? If it's such a good show, John, why is it canceled? Why is it being wiped away? Cleared off like a bug in the windshield. On the windshield. Never in the windshield. Well, a brief history of Final Space, if you will. It started on TBS in 2018 with season 1, and then it went over to Adult Swim for season 2 in 2019, and then its third season was released in 2021, also under Adult Swim. From there, it was canceled by them because Warner and Discovery had a merger. After that, Final Space became a tax write-off. It's as if it's just going to be wiped from the face of the earth. Right now, some episodes still remain available for purchase on Amazon Prime Video and YouTube in the US, and the series is still available on Netflix International, which is sick for us Canadians, until December 16th, 2023. Olin even had to give up his license to sell merchandise, which was bittersweet, but what brings me to what I'm wearing right now, because it sucks that he can't sell merch anymore, and I definitely feel for that, but I also got all of this on sale because of that, which is awesome. So I got this like Renew Final Space toque, and I got this Renew Final Space hoodie, which has a really cool like backing to it, some like hardcore punk business going on there. I also got a really cool like Van Trexian t-shirt and a bunch of really cool posters for way cheaper than if I had bought them full price. So thank you, Olin. Also, I'm so sorry. Now, what does Final Space's future hold? Well, Olin's fighting pretty hard to try to wrap up the story, albeit still working on other projects. In doing so, he actually began a Kickstarter in June of 2022 to produce a short film called Godspeed, which will act as unexpressed ideas that never really made it into Final Space, but it's not going to be kind of Final Space affiliated because unfortunately he's not allowed to do that legally. But it raised over $400,000 on Kickstarter, which is incredible. There's also a virtual reality game called Final Space The Rescue, which is available to play. Other than that, future-wise, not much, which is actually awful. It's tragic, really. The series lives on as every other series does. It lives on with its community and its fans. So join me. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Leave a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. Would love to have you here a little bit more often. But if you watch this one and you decide that it's not your thing, that's totally fine too. Thanks anyway. Go enjoy your life. And I will see you guys on the next one. Just go watch Final Space.